Over the past few decades, the world has seen an unprecedented rise in the spread of zoonotic diseases, that is the pathogens jumping from animals to humans and causing widespread devastation.
Millions of animals and plants are shuttled illegally around the world each day, posing the risk of disease transmission, says the United Nations Environment Programme report. About 40,000 live primates, 4 million live birds, 640,000 live reptiles, and 350 million live tropical fish are estimated to be illegally traded every year.
Americans own more than 150 million pets, but a team led by Ohio State University shows the importance of choosing the right ones to bring into your house.
Animals who are illegally traded are kept in unsanitary conditions for weeks, pass through transit countries, and arrive at their destinations carrying bacteria and parasites capable of spreading disease.
The COVID-19 was a grim reminder of the fragile boundary between human civilization and the natural world, claiming over 20 million lives in the world and causing widespread socio-economic disruption and devastation. And this is just one of the many under the list of zoonotic diseases coming in the world, whether it be Ebola in the Western Africa, whether it be Zika virus in the American region. There have been a growing list and growing concern amongst these zoonotic diseases spreading in the entire world and causing global disruption. We have not forgotten the horrors of COVID-19 pandemic and the devastation caused by COVID-19 in the society, in the overall economy, in public health, and to the lives of mankind. As the world still continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, another threat which is looming in the world is the spread of mpox, popularly known as monkeypox.
The World Health Organization has declared a global public health emergency following an outbreak of a new strain of the mpox virus in Africa.
The highly infectious disease mpox has been declared a public health emergency of international concern by the World Health Organization.
दुनिया भर में monkeypox वायरस तेजी से अपने पैर पसार रहा है। monkeypox के मामले तेजी से बढ़ रहे हैं।
This monkeypox can be passed on through close contact and causes flu-like symptoms and lesions on the body and can be deadly.
The once a rare viral disease, which was earlier confined to the forest of the Central and Western African regions, has now made a resurgence in the world. In 2024, the monkeypox cases have begun to be showing in the countries where it has never been reported before. They have been spreading across continents at an alarming rate. The virus, which was once a low-level threat, has now captured the attention of the global health authorities and also a rising concern of pandemic in the coming future. On 14th of August 2024, World Health Organization has declared this monkeypox as a public health emergency of international concern, that is PHEIC.
The World Health Organization has declared a global public health emergency following an outbreak of the mpox virus in Africa.
Declared that a fast-spreading new variant of the highly infectious disease mpox is a global health emergency.
Last week, I announced that I was convening an emergency committee under the international health regulations to evaluate the upsurge of mpox in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and other countries in Africa.
Due to significant surge in the cases, especially in Democratic Republic of Congo and also the neighboring African regions. Now, more than 500 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo have died due to the resurgence of this virus. And children under the 15 years of age reports around 66% of the total cases and more than 80% of the total death. This status of public health emergency of international concern has been defined by International Health Regulations 2005, indicating that this 2024 outbreak is an extraordinary event determined to constitute a public health risk to other states through international spread of the disease, and potentially it requires a coordinated international response. That is what this advisory or this announcement made by the World Health Organization indicates. Now, since the year 2005, there have been 8 such declarations made by World Health Organization. The last one was again for mpox in 2022. And the previous one was due to COVID-19 pandemic. The virus has already been spread to countries like Thailand, Sweden, Pakistan, and several other countries in the entire world outside of the African region. And this can eventually turn out to be a global pandemic having a detrimental effect on the global health. In India also, several departments from different states have also raised alarms and expressed concerns over the potential spread of this mpox virus in our country, which is why it is very necessary for us to take precautions, and vigilance is also very, very necessary.
The World Health Organization has declared monkeypox or mpox outbreak as a global health emergency.
Monkeypox is slowly becoming the new global concern, with over 14 countries affected by the cases.
Case now reported in Sweden shows the contagious spread of the mpox virus outside Africa and the urgent need for action.
Now, AIIMS Delhi, that is All India Institute of Medical Sciences Delhi, has also come up with the advisory and set of guidelines to be followed by the hospitals in case there is an emergency in relation to mpox, in case there is a patient who has been infected by this monkeypox virus. So AIIMS Delhi have basically issued standard operating procedures and guidelines in order to handle this mpox virus patients. So India has also started preparing for this particular virus outbreak, which is why in today's discussion, our focus would be centering around this mpox virus, that is monkeypox virus, and all the things which we as informed citizens should know about this particular virus. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh, and today's topic is mpox virus, the rising threat. Now, mpox is basically a zoonotic disease caused by the monkeypox virus. Now, zoonotic disease is a disease which spreads from animals to humans. Now, this virus is a DNA virus. Unlike the SARS-CoV-19 virus, which was a RNA virus, these two are very different. It also belongs to the pox family of viruses, which includes other viruses like smallpox, cowpox, variola, vaccinia. However, chickenpox is not really coming under this category. Now, mpox has been around since long time. It was first discovered in monkeys kept in Denmark for research in 1958. And eventually in 1970, it was first discovered in humans, in Democratic Republic of Congo, in a 9-month-old baby. Ever since the end of smallpox vaccination around the world, in 1980s after its eradication, the widespread prevalence of mpox in humans have been immense, and especially in the regions of Africa, including Western, Eastern and Central Africa. The first time it became a global outbreak was in the year 2022. And in that period, India had close to 30 cases of mpox, including the state of Kerala. Now, the name monkeypox was first coined because the virus was first found in monkeys, which were there for research in Denmark. Now, this name was later criticized by several experts because monkeys were not the main host or reservoirs of this particular virus. And it was also criticized because many experts believed that it reinforced racism and a sense of stigma on the African nations as the carriers of this particular disease. So in November 2022, World Health Organization said that we'll be calling this particular virus as mpox in the future communications, and also suggested that others should follow this recommendation. Now, this mpox virus is classified into two different types, known as two different clades, that is clade 1 and clade 2. Now, clade 1 originated in Central Africa and clade 2 originated in Western Africa. Now, in April 2024, after detection of a new variant, the clade 1 was split under two subclades, which were designated as clade 1A and clade 1B. And similarly, clade 2 was also bifurcated in two subclades, that is clade 2A and clade 2B. Now, what sets this 2024 outbreak apart from the other outbreaks of mpox is that this is led by a clade known as clade 1B, which is much deadlier, much dangerous and spreads much faster as compared to the clade 2, which was there in 2022. As a result, it is now reaching countries which it has never reached before, including Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, etc. Now, Thailand also reported a case in relation to this new variant, and eventually Sweden also reported a case in relation to this new variant. Now, historically, the case fatality rate, that is CFR, of these kind of outbreaks has been reported around 1% to 10%. Now, clade 2 is believed to be mildly infectious as compared to clade 1 and is having a fatality rate of 0.2% compared to 3.9% fatality rate of clade 1. Now, this mpox is primarily transmitted from animals to humans, especially rodents and primates, through direct contact or through any contaminated objects. Now, this human-to-human transmission of mpox, it occurs through direct contacts, through bodily liquids, through face-to-face contact, through lesions, including sexual contacts and indirect contact of a bedding or clothing. Now, initial symptoms of mpox are quite common including fever, muscle pain, sore throat, which can be followed by a itchy and a painful rash. Headache, swollen lymph nodes, and fatigue are also quite common. Now, not everyone will exhibit complete set of symptoms altogether, and also most mpox patients gets symptomatic after 4 to 11 days of getting infected. However, incubation day can be as short as 1 day.
How it spreads, and then also what we can do, each of us, to prevent further spread.
Well, as Chris said, it's spread mostly by close skin-to-skin contact. Part of the problem with monkeypox has a long incubation period. If you're exposed to it, it may take a week or two to get symptoms. First symptoms, fever, fatigue, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes. Then a week after that, this characteristic rash. That rash is what really spreads it. So when you get that, you're going to spread it if you come close in contact with people. So I guess the message is with strangers, be careful with getting too close to strangers right now because you never know who may have monkeypox.
Now, the 2022-2023 outbreak, it also revealed that incubation period can be more than 4 weeks as well, which is why it is very important for us to understand that clear study or clear research on this mpox is not yet out there. It can be varying around the different clade type of mpox which is spreading. The rash comprises of numerous small lesions which can appear on face, which can appear on palms, soles, mouth, throat, genitals, or anus as well. It starts as a small flat spot before developing into a small bump, having liquid which is then filled with liquid, and eventually it bursts out and scrabs over. This can also typically last for around 10 days. Now, the time from exposure to the onset of symptoms can be usually between 3 to 17 days. However, cases can be severe in case of children, women, and people who are with suppressed immunity systems. Now, if you want to do diagnosis of this monkeypox, the diagnosis can be done with a test. That is polymerase chain reaction test, PCR test, which we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic as well, which usually tests the lesion for virus DNA. As of August 2024, there have been 4 vaccines which have been developed in the world to prevent mpox. Although the supply of these vaccines is limited and all were originally developed to combat smallpox. The first vaccine is MVABN, that is manufactured by the Bavarian Nordic, and it is licensed to be used for mpox in European, US, and Canadian regions. The second is LC16, which is licensed to be used in Japan. The third one is Orthopox Vax, which is manufactured by the State Research of Center of Virology and Biotechnology, Vector in Russia. The fourth one is ACAM 2000, which is manufactured by Emergent Biosolutions, which is available but is not being used currently against mpox in United States. Now, most cases of mpox show very mild symptoms, and usually a person recovers from mpox in 2 to 4 weeks. But one thing to note here is that there is no specific treatment available for this particular disease, although several antivirals have been approved for treatment in case of severe cases. Now, patients who are at the most risk of this particular infection are the children, elderly people, pregnant women, and those who are having compromised immunity systems. For those patients having severe symptoms, hospital admission is recommended, and also careful monitoring is also recommended of the symptoms, and eventually symptomatic treatment is given to treat those symptoms, especially for complications such as proctitis and pruritus. This suggests us that immunization and proper hospital care or proper health care of the patients can be beneficial for the outcomes in case of mpox patients. Small rodents are considered the most likely candidates, and if proper medical care and proper major vaccination campaign throughout the world is not introduced, this can also spread from endemic areas to non-endemic areas, and international spread or the global spread of this mpox is not far if rapid vaccination drives are not launched, especially in the areas of Africa. Now, this mpox virus is a stark reminder that these zoonotic diseases are a constant threat to our human lives, and as the world becomes more and more interconnected, globalization is at its peak. The potential for new pandemics like COVID-19 to disrupt our world becomes immense. COVID-19 was definitely a wake-up call for us, but this particular virus gives us the opportunity to use all the learnings which we had from the COVID-19 pandemic and to apply those learnings swiftly to ensure that another global health pandemic is not there. Now, there's a report which Global Health Security Index published, and according to that report, close to 75% countries in the world are vulnerable to any future pandemics which might come. That means these countries are poorly prepared for pandemics, and the major reason is underfunded healthcare system and poor global cooperation. Now, in order to ensure that almost all the countries are prepared and almost all the countries can tackle any such virus which comes in future, global community must prioritize research into these zoonotic diseases. They need to strengthen the public health infrastructure, they need to foster international collaboration, and also ensure that the world is prepared to face next such outbreak which might come. The time to act is definitely now. Because according to the World Health Organization's report, if any such pandemic like COVID-19 pandemic again comes to the world, the cost to the world can be upwards of $100 billion. This monkeypox virus is not just a health crisis, but it is a wake-up call for the entire world. Now, as we navigate through this latest outbreak, we must also confront the social and environmental factors which are causing these changes in the world, including climate change, deforestation, wildlife extinction. These all issues needs to be addressed properly so that the rise of zoonotic diseases which we are seeing now, it can be combated, treated and cured. The world definitely stands at brink. And if remedial measures, proper measures, coordinated efforts are not made, then we are foreseeing a very, very devastating pandemic for the entire world. So the stakes have never been higher, and the time to act is definitely and definitely now. Now, many health experts are pointing out that for India, there is no concern for worry because this mpox virus is not spreading as badly as the COVID-19. And also, if all the necessary precautions are taken, it won't be spreading in India as well. However, we need to analyze and introspect our pandemic preparedness as well, that if because of any emergency situations or any untoward happening, if this virus comes to India, then are we prepared enough to tackle this virus and to ensure minimal damage? Are we equipped enough to ensure that this virus is not again causing devastation to our country? In this case, we need to analyze properly our pandemic preparedness and overall healthcare systems.
India's health ministry has instructed airports and border authorities to stay vigilant for passengers showing symptoms.
Though India has not reported any cases yet, the central government is keeping a close eye on the situation.
The government says that India has not reported any case of monkeypox just yet, but we have to be on the guard. The government has also said that it expects cases to surface in India given the manner in which it has now surfaced in non-endemic countries.
Now let us analyze some aspects of our healthcare. Now, despite working for surveillance systems for zoonotic diseases in our country, the responsiveness and detection of zoonotic diseases in India still remains very, very poor and very, very bad. The Integrated Disease Surveillance Program, which is touted as the frontline defense system for zoonotic diseases in our country, is still having several gaps, and particularly in the rural and remote regions of our country. India's vaccination drive during the COVID-19 pandemic showed numerous loopholes. In rural areas, we were not able to spread our vaccination drive much. In urban areas, it was definitely a success, but gaps in rural areas and poor areas still remained. We struggled with shortages, and there were also logistical nightmares during that period of time. We all remember that COVID-19 pandemic brought India's healthcare system to its knees. Shortages of oxygen supplies, shortages of beds, shortages of masks and sanitizers as well basically showed us the reality of our Indian public health infrastructure system. While India has definitely made strides in educating the public about these spread of these zoonotic diseases, but still in India it remains a very popular and important stigma. In a society where rumors spread like wildfire, the challenge is not just to treat the disease, but also to treat the fears, the misconceptions, and the misinformation which is spread in the society by the miscreants. Now, beyond the immediate health crisis, this crisis can eventually mean another economic disaster for our country. The COVID-19 pandemic, we all remember, wiped off millions and millions of jobs. Our economy went into a technical recession. There was a global recession as well. And still we are yet to recover from those fears. We are yet to recover from that pandemic-led lockdown. And still, if monkeypox virus takes hold in our nation, it will go into a situation where from recovering from it will be very, very difficult for us, and very, very bad situation would be there for our country. India and world is currently at critical crossroads. Public memory is definitely short. We might have forgotten the horrors and the fears of the COVID-19 pandemic, but we must not forget whatever the lessons which we learned from the COVID-19. The lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic could help us to combat this monkeypox virus again, could help us to give a very informed response, to give a very prepared response to any impending pandemic which might come into our country, which might come into the world. The country's experience with the COVID-19 pandemic was a wake-up call, not just for the country but for the entire world. But have we done enough to combat any such crisis? That is the real question. Now, with the monkeypox knocking on the door, India's health preparedness, world health preparedness is on the spotlight. Now, the stakes are unimaginably higher for India and the world. In this scenario, multilateral organizations, especially the World Health Organization, which could not do much during the COVID-19 pandemic, should come forward, take a responsibility, and ensure swift actions, swift remedial measures are taken to ensure that we are prepared enough to tackle any such menace, to tackle any such pandemic which might be coming to our country or other countries in the next few weeks or the next few months. We need to swiftly, decisively, and effectively avoid any such catastrophic disaster, any such catastrophic health disaster to come into this world again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay informed. All the very best, and have a beautiful day.